Alright, guys. So this is another Patreon request, and this one comes from Nolan Unejo, who asked me to do basically a very interesting topic. But before we get into that, as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, where you guys can start sending me requests for videos to do here on YouTube. But other than that, yeah, let's get started with the video. So, this topic is kind of loosely based on something I did on Halloween, where I talked about, like, what if I was a slasher? Like, what if I was like a horror movie slasher? Like, what would be my theme? What would be, like, all of that? Here, it's a little different. For this one, basically, Nolan asked me, instead of what would it be like if I was a slasher in a horror movie, what would it be like if I were a kaiju? So, yeah. What would it be like if I was a kaiju? What would it be like if I were a kaiju in in a movie? Like, what would I be like, and what kind of kaiju would I be? What kind of giant monster? What would be my abilities? Things like that. So, yeah. Honestly, I didn't think I would be doing a video like this. The slasher video was more like, well, I kind of want to do something Halloween-y that isn't a ranking video again, so I'll just do this. But apparently, it caught fire, and here we are now. So, let's get started. So, what would it be like if I... let's start off with what kind of kaiju I would be. Like, that's where we need to start. Would I be, like, a creature born from, like, radioactivity? Or would I be, like, an ancient monster? Or would I be from space? You know, things like that. Honestly, I think I would like to be, like, some monster lost in time. Like there are legends about me. I'm like a creature lost from a bygone era, like an era that was lost to time itself, an era of before pre-recorded history. I'm talking like Hyboria age, you know, Conan era, like something out of like Conan the Barbarian. So, where would I come from? Well, you know, Norway has been getting kind of big in the kaiju department, so maybe like you know, get some Norway, like far north. Like, let's say, actually, that's better. That's better put. Where it'd be like somewhere far in the frozen north. And what kind of kaiju would I be? An ice one. I always like I always like characters with ice-based abilities. So I would definitely like to be an ice-based kaiju. As for what my appearance would be, something similar to the Ice Titan from Hercules, like something like that, where even like where I'm like every step I take, it's like leaving like patches of frost and ice everywhere. In fact, even like me approaching just is like an ice storm, and it's freezing everything in sight. Kind of like, if you guys remember from the not too long ago, the trailer for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. In there, it was kind of like this, the ghost was causing like this kind of like cold, freezing effect on people. And that's what I would like to have, is like, even like my approach would just be like like it's an ice storm. Like it's like I'm a walking like I'm just this titan that can bring like a blizzard over my head. As for abilities, ice-based, like just a huge ice blast out of my mouth, like shoot ice torpedoes out of my back or chest. I'd also love to have another ability, you know, like, and I don't see enough of this in the kaiju community. I think like one special ability I'd love to have is create Draugr, which is, for those who don't know, Draugr are basically zombies in Norse mythology. Yes, there's a little more to them, but we're just kind of going for a generalization. There's a little more to what makes a Draugr, but here it's that's what they would be called. So basically, like the cold influence, like it not only instantly kills, but it also makes people into like zombies with like basically make them into White Walkers. That's a better version. But they would be called, like, I refer to they would be referred to as Draugr, and they would all, like, be under my control as a kaiju. So while soldiers are trying to like shoot at me and like fire tanks, like then out of nowhere, out of the ice storm that I'm making, out come running like fucking White Walkers, snarling and killing people, leading to, you know, a division of four. Like soldiers now have to be like, oh shit, fire on those. As I'm just kind of walking along, freeze breathing everything in my path, freezing engines of planes and helicopters as they get closer. Yeah. Kind of like that's kind of what I would like to do, is like, you're not just, it'd be like, you're not just fighting me, pal, you're fighting like a whole damn army. You're fighting just a whole damn army, and now you have to like reallocate forces in order to combat that. And and here's the thing, the dead out. Here's like to quote Missy from Doctor Who, like one of the greatest flaws in Earth's history is that the dead outnumber the living. There you go. So I think that would be kind of like my kind of kaiju appearance, just a big giant ice kaiju. And yes, we've had ice-based kaiju, but I would just be a walking death storm of a creature. At least that's kind of how I imagine it. Like I said, I've always been a fan of ice-type creatures, and ice and like ice in general. It's probably why I have a lot of affinity for like cold-based characters in media. But anyway, so yeah, there you go, guys. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what would you be like as a kaiju? What would your origin be? What would your appearance be? What would your abilities be? Just comment below, let me know. And once again, I'd like to thank Nolan Unejo for this Patreon request, as well as continued patronage. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.